Hi there, it's Amanda from amandagreenthumb.com. So today I just wanted to share with you about how to start a small container garden. So container gardening is super great. Anyone that's renting, or if you're not 100% committed to starting a vegetable patch, then I would totally suggest with container gardening. You can take it with you when you move. You can bring it inside in the winter. It's pretty simple. So first things first, what are we going to plant, right? That's the first thing we want to think about. So my advice is to stick with things that you can keep cutting and growing and eating as a continuous cycle. So those are called cut and come again plants. Those are like lettuces, herbs. There's lots of different plants like that. So what I would say is I'm going to talk about 5 things today. So that is your herbs, greens, edible flowers, peas and beans, and tomatoes. I find that they're the easiest things to start with, that you'll have the most success. So first we'll talk about herbs. They're so expensive to buy in the store. They're like $3.99, $2.99 for a little thing for one recipe. A lot of herbs are perennial, so that means that you plant it once and it will continue growing year after year. They're really easy to grow and they change your cooking drastically. The second is greens. So that's anything from lettuce to kale, any leafy greens. That's what I'm talking about here. They have the highest nutrients dense food of any food. They're expensive and they're super easy to grow. It's one of those things, again, like we're talking about cut and come again, when you harvest the outside leaves and it'll continue growing from the center. The next is edible flowers. This is one that's really overlooked a lot. I think that we definitely need to include it. Flowers, the colors in the flowers show how much antioxidants are actually in the flower, which is super good for you. It's great to add to salads, smoothies even. I really like to add them into smoothies. They help the bees, which is going to actually help the rest of your plants. So if you have things that fruit, which we'll talk about that in a minute, the flowers will attract the beneficial insects and actually keep the bad insects at bay. So really important to have in your small container garden, edible flowers. I'm talking about things like pansies, violas, nasturtiums, dill, and even sunflowers. The next is peas and beans. Super easy to grow. You don't even need to buy plant starts. You can grow them right from the seeds. They love to grow up things, so you'll just get a pot of your peas or beans and then put a trellis up behind it. Or if you have a patio like I do here all in the wood, I have pots of them and they're starting to grow up the actual patio, so that's pretty cool. And the flowers are gorgeous as well. Same thing, they'll attract the bees and beneficial insects. And actually at the end of the year, when your peas and your beans dry out on the pod, you can actually harvest all them, save them for next year, and plant them again. That actually creates a self-sustainable system, which is amazing. And our last thing is tomatoes. So I don't know if anyone has ever tried to grow a tomato before, but they're weeds and they will take over. So there's actually a variety of tomato. It's called the patio tomato, and it's specifically for containers, and it's specifically for obviously patios or container gardening. It's a medium-sized tomato, which means the huge tomatoes, they will grow, but they do take more time to ripen up. I live in Canada, so I have to get, sometimes my season isn't very long for growing, so that's where the cherry tomatoes or this patio medium-sized tomato really come in handy for me, because they tend to ripen up quicker and I tend to get more fruit from it. So next I want to talk about what are we going to do to plant these plants. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need to get containers or the pots. I recommend getting the biggest pots that you can afford. Obviously, we don't all have the money to start huge gardens, so you can use recycled containers, 2-liter pop containers, whatever you have. I mean, start growing today. That's your main objective. I got a lot of my pots from the dollar store. They're fairly inexpensive. I also went to the garden center to get my dirt, so I got OMRI certified dirt. That just means it's organic. It's not necessary, but I do advocate it. I think it's important to really cut down the chemicals, especially since all of these foods we are going to be eating. So yeah, get the OMRI certified dirt. Just go to the garden center and ask them for organic dirt. They'll know exactly what you want. And then I'm going to talk about soil additives for a second. So the best soil additive is the Gaia Green Glacier Rock Dust, in my opinion. I have it right here, so maybe I'll just show you really quick. This is what it looks like, Gaia Green Glacier Rock Dust. It's made in BC, so it's easy for me. I find it everywhere. It's made from when the glaciers came and it's the rock bed from when the glaciers came by, and it's in a dust, so you can either add it into the soil or you can actually water it into your plants. And it has all the trace elements, like I was saying, that are devoid from the soils today. This is going to make our vegetables taste sweeter, they're going to grow stronger, and they're going to be more resistant to diseases. I think it's super important. If you can't find it, it's not the end of the world, but if you can, definitely invest. It's great product. Or if you can't find that, worm castings are another great alternative as well. So we just talked about the OMRI certified dirt, rock dust, or worm castings. So what you're going to do is you're either going to mix it all together in a separate container, or you're going to just mix it right into your pots. You're going to mix it in, and then you're going to plant the plant in. I'm just going to show you, I have a little Scotch bonnet pepper plant here. So I'm just going to demonstrate really quickly what to not do. So a lot of people, when they plant they're planting the plant quite low under the dirt level. And you want to keep it relatively the same. So as you can see in here, there we go. See how this is where the dirt is on here? When I replant this out, I don't want to cover it up to here with dirt. I want to keep the level the same. Just lightly cover the top. And that if you don't, what's going to happen is if you cover it really deep, some plants will get rot here and the whole plant will die. So keep the dirt low. So yeah, you want to keep your plants moist between watering. Obviously they don't like to be super dry. But they do like to dry out a bit in between, so you don't want to have them continuously wet, or else they won't thrive either. So just look for a balance. You want to let your plants grow for 1 to 2 weeks before you start harvesting. Just give them a chance to get developed, so they start growing a little bit before you start taking the leaves off. You want to pick 1 to 2 leaves per plant. That's why I really advocate getting the six plants in a package and putting them all into one pot. That gives you a bunch of, here, let's see, you can see this one. This is all kale. So you can see I've put in more than one plant in here. That just helps me so that when I'm harvesting the kale to eat, you can see, look, it got a little accident there. Once I'm harvesting them to eat, I can take 1 or 2 leaves off of every single plant and then actually have enough to harvest without killing the plant down. So that's why I advocate that. Peas and beans, the more that you pick them, the more they're going to grow, which is terrific. So pick them every day. As your plants get bigger and more established, you'll be able to harvest more frequently, and your harvest will increase in size as well. I really want you to invest in some vegetables this summer. It doesn't take long. It'll take you one afternoon, I promise. One day, get it set up, and then just make sure you water it when you walk by. I really think you should do even just 5 pots and do 1 of each. So 1 herb, 1 greens, edible flowers, a peas or beans, and tomatoes. And yeah, and I just want to remind you that I'm here to help you guys. I'm your health coach, and I promise that if you send me a picture of a plant and you don't understand what's going on, just text it to me, give it me an email about it, and I promise I'll come up with the solution for you. So get growing today. If you have any more questions or you're not really sure, I've actually have all this information about all these types of plants posted on my website at amandagreenthumb.com. So just head on over to my website, check it out. If not, just send me an email and start growing today. It's your summer. Let's cut down your grocery costs, okay? Have a great day, bye. We'll see you soon.